Hello you guys, happy Friday. Oh, just kidding, it is not Friday, happy Tuesday. It feels like Friday. We are officially out for a Thanksgiving break of sorts. We have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off, so I am just probably the only teacher right now who's still in the building. It's a little after 5. I've been getting some things done. I just did a bunch of grading that I had been putting off. You know, it's funny, I actually went to bed earlier like a normal person the past couple nights, which overall was fine. I mean, around 11 o'clock is when I went to bed and woke up at my normal time. But you really just don't have much time to get stuff done then. I mean, those nighttime hours are like my prime productivity hours, so, you know, it's a trade-off, I guess. I'm just getting things settled. The students just had a 2-day week here and then are on break mode, but the sweetest thing, I went back to check my mailbox before the end of the day, and I don't know which class this was for, but it looked like students were writing thank you notes to maybe a teacher or staff member of their choice, and I had a bunch of these really sweet letters in my mailbox. And so while my copies were being made, I was reading over this, and this was just so sweet. Like I'm a very sentimental person, and so like I definitely got a little teary there, and yeah, it just means so much. Here we go, maybe I'll get teary on the vlog too, but overall I do feel like things have been more positive. But I think one of my biggest, I don't want to say it's a frustration, but the most challenging thing for me has been feeling like maybe I'm not being as authentic to like my true self in the classroom, and having to be, you know, much more strict, or at least trying to be. I'm really not as a person. Like that strict of a person or authoritarian like of a person. I really am very laid back. I've had to step up my discipline game much more than what I'm comfortable doing, whereas like I'd much rather, you know, be a much more laid back environment, but I kind of feel like I tried that more at the beginning and it didn't end up working out as well. And so I think because of that, or maybe because I like started out too relaxed and then went more strict, I haven't known if there's really respect there as much from students, or if there's, you know, I haven't felt like I've had as strong of a relationship with some. I think overall it has gotten better, but that's like where you feel like, you know, you're a likable person or you're a friendly person, but maybe that's not able to come across given the situation or the class dynamic. And so it was really cool to hear that things are positive, because a lot of things the students said are really sweet. Some of them are anonymous, so I wish they would have left their names so I want to give them thank you notes back for how sweet these are. But honestly, this was such a fun surprise, and I'm really thankful for it. Like, this is, you know, a lot of people are more gift oriented, and I mean, obviously if you follow like the main YouTube channel, Abundantly Minimal, that I know some of you came from, you know, I'm a very minimalist person. I don't really like gifts and material possessions like that, but words, like kind words, mean the most to me every time. And so, you know, that's why I really enjoy like reading your comments and then reading things like this. It means so much. So I'm just really happy right now. Anyway, I'll pull myself together and then we'll talk in a bit. All right, so I've pulled myself together a little bit, and I'm gonna tell you a few kind of updates of things. So one thing, I was doing my student of the day activity. We did get to go through all of the students. I had to finish up and have a couple classes with 2 today since we'd gotten behind, but overall I would say it was a really positive process. I think some students really didn't want to have to be put on the spot and kind of share information about themselves, but I did enjoy writing the thank you notes to students. I guess speaking of Thanksgiving, I think it was a fun part of class. So I am, since we had a chance to go through it once, I am phasing it out, and instead, coming up, I just made a little sign for it, we're gonna be doing a question of the day. This will be a mix of some get to know you questions, would you rathers, maybe little puzzles. It will be things like that. That will be kind of a fun start today. We always start class with a bell ringer activity, well, most of the time, whether that's like a warm-up activity for social studies or Spanish, depending on what class we start with first, each core class. And I will be starting with this now as well. So we'll have the official bell ringer, but then also the question of the day. Technically, it was an option for students to ask like other students a question of the day, but that wasn't really a popular choice. Students mostly either complimented another student or would instead do 2 truths and a lie about themselves. So anyway, I'll get this set up and that will be something we start. So I'll be coming up with some fun questions over break, they'll probably be relatively silly questions, but I think it should be a fun way to start class. And I know in a recent episode I talked about the TCI curriculum, and so I did actually get the official 8th grade materials now. So we are going to be piloting one chapter. I know I did not necessarily have a decision made from before, but after looking at some of the materials more and kind of talking through what the goals were for the pilot, I think it's definitely worth giving it a try. So we have the textbook here, all brand new for the pilot, and then also the notebook with Common Core related activities. So I have a lot of planning to do for my next trimester. We're a little bit behind and I didn't end up planning as much before, so that's definitely a goal over these next few days, is to have more of a structure. I don't want to be behind. I know one of my personal frustrations with a lot of 8th grade classes, especially history-wise, is it's very hard to get to present day. But I feel like the present day stuff is what matters most for our students to know, because that's the world they're living in. And so because of that, like I know in the past, and I can see how it happens, we're going a little bit slower than we should be. You know, last year they ended with World War I. I know at my past school, before I started teaching there, they ended at World War II. It's really tough to make it all the way to present times. The way I structured my curriculum at my past school was actually thematically. So we went through different themes of US history rather than the dates and chronologically. And that definitely helped the students seem to get more of a grasp of modern times. And it also gave some flexibility because we could spend different amounts of times than maybe we could have if we followed the linear approach. However, we are doing a more linear approach here just because, you know, I don't want to rock the boat too much per se, I guess. And I have a curriculum map that I need to follow. So anyway, I'm going to be kind of looking to see where can we save time and how can we make sure that the students are getting the most out of the curriculum. So that's the goal. So I will be reading through some of these and seeing what options are available and figuring out what the best fit for us is. Another resource that I tested out for the first time this week was Flipgrid. Now, if you haven't heard of Flipgrid before, the reason I found out about it was that my school does have pro memberships for everyone, or like whatever the paid membership is. So I was like, well, if they're paying for it, I should see what it is. But it seems to be a pretty cool resource because it gives students the chance to record themselves talking, and this can be used in a lot of ways to kind of encourage more student voice. Rather than written, it's video and audio. There are some features on it that make it maybe a bit more fun for students, like they can add stickers and that kind of thing to their little grid. But then after students have submitted these, you can see all the responses on one page. Students can respond to each other with video. So I think that the use I'm most excited for, it will be with current events, because we haven't done a lot with current events. There's been a few articles here and there on Newsella. I love Newsella, but I want to give more student choice in that. So that's something that we'll be using coming up. I think I'll try to start that in December. I know in terms of planning, we are going to do some more writing work because, you know, time's flying and we didn't really do much writing so far in November, or even like the second half of October. So it's been a little while since we've done some writing. But I think that with the Flipgrid, it will especially give students a chance to be able to start articulating better about current events and just have a better awareness. And what's also great is I'm going to have students find an article that they are interested in, create the Flipgrid about it with like their thoughts on the issue. I might put a prompt together for it, and then they'll have to pick another student and respond to them based on the issue. So that may mean that they're listening to a lot of students to try to decide who they're going to respond to. I think that can be a good way to also promote just kind of an understanding of these different news stories. So regardless, that is something that is coming up. I think the resource is really cool. I know you can create like one core and with several different smaller grids within it if you have the free version. So that's definitely something to try out. I know for my students today, and yesterday what we were using it for was an oral presentation option in Spanish. If students didn't want to present in front of the class, they could record the Flipgrid, like video of them, which meant that they didn't have to feel like there was as much pressure on them or as many eyes on them if they weren't comfortable. But students also did very well on the presentations today, so that was really cool. I really enjoy oral presentations with the students, and so I hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving. I know this year Jake and I will be spending it with my family. I'll be seeing my immediate family Wednesday night. Well, it may be already in the past by the time you're watching this. And on Thanksgiving Day, we're going to drive over to Indiana to visit my mom's side of the family, grandparents, aunts and uncles, cousins, and we'll all be together there, and we'll also be celebrating my grandparents' wedding anniversary as well. So that's going to be a pretty fun time, and we'll head back Friday. No Black Friday shopping plans for me. We'll have a new roommate moving in on Saturday, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, I think that in general is kind of what's coming up. So I hope you guys have a good holiday or good day whenever you're watching this, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye.